So welcome to 3rio Talk. I am Jack. To my left is Jonathan. Get that? You hear that tapping? That's him. And to my right is David, who is looking at shitty memes on his Instagram page.
I'm just looking at arse and tits actually, but go on.
And by that he means men.
Fat men.
So John and I, and by that I mean John, but I'm going to take half credit because I can. He can't stop me. Are doing. So we found a website called Everyday Feminism, and because all of us love feminism so much, we're going to take the piss out of this particular article, which is called 160 Examples of Male Privilege.
This would be great, but then if we actually agree that male privilege is a thing.
We're not going to do all 160. Like John, David, and I will just do like a rapid scan as you scroll down to make fun of, like, or to talk about or whatever a particular point.
So essentially, going to kind of like address the points and then attempt to debunk them.
Attempt to, or just make fun of them, because making fun of things is funnier.
Yeah.
He sticks away with professional.
But yeah, like, but I mean, you know, it would make more sense if they didn't make any sense. And then it's just like, well, this is clearly wrong, but we'll see where it goes. So, who wants to start off?
Can I please start with mansplaining, because already I'm triggered. Like,
Go ahead.
That's not a thing. I'm just.
Oh, by the way, great thing I found out about this website. If you actually click on the orange things, it'll take you to a link which defines what it actually means via them.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That gave me a spine chill.
Right. I'm gonna look at the definition of mansplaining right now.
Oh, here we go.
They're going to womansplain, mansplain to us. That's brilliant.
Oh jeez, that's not even explaining it. That's just a whole other article.
Oh, and they also put it into examples as well.
Oh, I'm not reading all that.
Ew.
That's not worth my time.
So do you know what the basic of mansplaining
Yeah,
is?
the basic concept is we're actually explaining something to them, but because they don't want to listen to us, they call it mansplaining.
Huh.
No, I thought the definition of mansplaining.
God.
Mansplaining. I thought the definition of mansplaining was something that is inherently easy to understand, but a man feels a need to reaffirm and explain it in a simplified way to a woman. So she already knows, like, the ins and outs of something, and a man will come along and be
But
like, this is this.
I thought, yeah, mansplaining, it sounds like from the example that they're given on here, is talking down to a woman in a sense. So the article actually says, you're not automatically assumed to know what you're talking about or subjected to mansplaining.
That doesn't make sense.
We don't automatically assume what women know. Like, because it's saying basically that if I were to be talking to...
This is quite horrific, by the way.
Don't worry. If I were to be talking to a woman, they'd not understand what I was talking about, and so I'd have to talk down to them, but I wouldn't. What person assumes that? They don't assume that of us, or we assume that of them. It's a ridiculous concept to begin with, because no one just goes into a conversation thinking, oh, this person I'm talking to is an idiot, based on their gender. You will think they're an idiot because they're a human. Like,
Well, after you talk to them for about 5 minutes.
yeah, after you talk to a woman like this for about 4 minutes, yeah, you will talk to them like that. But on the premise of...
By this, he means the person who wrote the article before you all start, tapping away on those comments.
I'd like him to, it'd be great. Oh, John, you'll love that one. Number 4. Please read out number 4. You'll love that.
Common vocabulary favours your gender as the default with language like mankind and foreman. And can't speak.
Dictionary definition
Thank you.
And dicks, because men.
of words by men, created by men.
Right. So that's dumb, because the term men, or man in this case, because it's man and... So mankind and for man relates to human.
Yeah.
Which describes all humans, and man is just short for human. That's it. That's what that is. That fucking little number 4 point is bullshit, because mankind describes all of humans. Man is just short for human, and that's it. I mean, I suppose you could say like male and female, because the word male is in female. They might have a point there if they'd actually put it in, but they didn't.
But it's such a... And if we were to change our vocabulary just to fit a specific set of women who do, the foreman, for example, forewoman is such a waste of mouth energy compared to foreman. and other things with man in the title. I can't think of anything off the top of my head the one time that I need to. But, you know, yeah, it's such a waste of mouth energy to when we know, you know that I'm on about a woman. If you know that it's a woman in charge. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that is true. I mean,
it's not something that's irrelevant just because you say mankind. I mean, you got man. So as I was saying now, man is just the shortened down version for human. It is a bit weird if you consider that men, gender men, don't have anything in front of their name to define that. But I mean, I guess the lack of anything in front of it defines it automatically anyway.
We don't call them human, do we? It's human. Like we're humans.
Human.
We're not human and human.
I think they've completely mistaken what the man in things are.
It's majorative. That's all it is.
That's it. It's just mankind. It's just describing humans. That's it. Like, it's a human, but not quite.
I think probably one of the arguments that come from there is because years and years ago, when things were a bit more man-run, to say, we would have probably used terminology like that for those purposes, which is how we could easily get confused.
Yeah, because it makes more sense, like, just as far as language kind of evolved, because before, like, say, in the police force, you know, you call them a policeman because only really men, majority, you know, become policemen, if you get what I mean, in that kind of respect. And that it just really evolves from a kind of male kind of built society with the kind of working class, I suppose, of it. But now because women come into it a bit more now, you know, it doesn't mean anything on that kind of thing. It's like we
it's
shouldn't
not still
just kind
me
of,
and man. It's just been opened up the definition essentially.
That's it. Yeah, it just changes the definition. The word evolves. The word doesn't need to change.
And they could think fascists somehow changes meaning, so why can't that?
Exactly. The word just evolved. So the word doesn't just describe men or man. It just describes everyone. Because at the end of the day, we both have the word men in our name, so that surely describes all of us. And that's it. It's not... It's not... Because human... We're all fucking human. Stop being gay. Next question.
What on here? You can forego regular grooming during travel, like growing a backpacker's beard, without people judging you for not keeping up with your gender's expectations, even though there's nothing wrong with having a beard as a man.
Which is dumb, because I had my mum and my sister this morning say that I look scruffy as fuck with a fucking beard. So that's not true.
You look like you'd lost all the hope and optimism when you came back, though, so...
Yeah, because they fucking belittled me, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, that's another podcast. The example they give on here as well is, like, women shaving their legs. I think women shaving their legs as a societal standard is kind of partially their own fault, because they set the standards essentially for what women should look like, as it's been described in the fashion industry and so on and so forth.
The unfortunate thing for them, while you found your flaw, is that men don't find, or majority don't find, generally, that's the word, don't find hairy women attractive. Like, it's just an unfortunate fact. But then most women don't find a specific type of man attractive either. So I don't understand.
I mean,
it's like saying a fat man is, you know, kind of natural essentially in thing, because if we were left as a species to just kind of do whatever we want, if we had enough food and whatnot, we'd inevitably become fat. It's just how it would happen. I see animals get fat. But if you were to say that, then it's the same expectation. You've got the expectation that a man should look a certain kind of way, and we've got the same expectation of women now. The woman shaving legs and not being attractive for so on and so forth, I guess, is a societal construct, but so is the reality of beauty almost.
Yeah, it's not so much a man-induced thing at the end of the day on that, because, like, a hairless man, let's say, would be considered grotesque. You know,
some women do prefer men with beards and without beards. Some men don't mind women or prefer women with hairy legs.
Yeah, exactly. It takes all sorts really on that. Then, it's a hygiene thing more than anything really when it comes down to shaving and that kind of thing.
How so?
That's why razors were invented. Is because it's because that it made it a lot easier for people to groom themselves, and they shave their beard, keep up with their kind of body hair and that. It derives some hygiene reasons from back in the day.
I understand beards. I don't really go with hair legs. Otherwise, we would have shaved ours off if it was a hygiene benefit.
Yeah, it was very big in the 1900s.
It might not.
Mostly in women, but yeah.
It might not be a hygiene benefit now, but it might have been at the time for whatever reason.
It was. It was initially kind of conceived as that because of lice and things like that. If you get me, that's how it originated from, anyway.
Mm.
It's different now because it's more about just looking okay, but that's what it was about. And it's a personal choice at the end of the day. If you don't want to shave your legs, don't shave your legs. That's it. If a man comes up to you and says, "Oh, you got hairy legs," then obviously you're not going to fuck him easy enough. There's plenty of others that will fucking gladly eat your clunge.
Oh, God!
See, if I put it that way, it makes Jack hurt. I like it.
You can put it anywhere and it'll make Jack hurt.
I like that.
Women are gross.
I wouldn't say then female genitalia, and that's still slightly got a tinge on his...
On his pee-pee.
No, not his pee-pee. God, pee-pee. That's not the Lord to add to this, Jack.
Woo. So there's one that me and John agreed on earlier, which is this top one. 19.
Oh, yeah.
You're more likely to be congratulated for having lots of sex rather than shamed for it or called a slut.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that every man should be called a slut if he has sex with many women. But
they are in certain cases, and
I think it's becoming more common now for a man to be called a slut, but before, probably even in the 90s, it was quite rare.
I think it's becoming more common that women aren't called a slut.
It's shifting. It is, really. I mean, it's becoming more equal now. I think people still kind of are more disagreeable to it if someone is like, yeah, I shag tons of people, whether it's a man or a woman. Like, I mean, within the male kind of circle, I suppose the female circle of their friends and people, they kind of probably egg them on and say, good on you. Get it how you live. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. But I, for the most part, would agree with that point because it is...
Well, this is quite interesting.
It is a case of, if I met an individual who was like, yeah, I've shagged loads of women and he's like a bloke, I'd think, this guy's cool, Duke Nukem, motherfucker. And if it was a woman like that, I'd be like, a cunt's probably fucking hanging off. You know? It's
he has such a way with words.
Yeah, no, you gotta be visceral because it's a podcast. You gotta give them the visuals. But no, that is. I just want to get that point across, that is a fair point, and it is becoming better as far as the kind of bridge to...
Technically, according to Google definitions anyway, a slut is basically a slur for a woman who has many casual sex partners.
Oh,
which is quite interesting.
It's a woman-only fucking thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a... basically
man whore is our version, isn't it?
More or less, but I mean, they all mean the exact same thing. It's just being picky, more or less. But it sounds a bit more like a gender slur than anything else, but we do have man whore, which is the exact same thing.
I would say slut is like... Well, the term is kind of changing towards meaning both men and women, though. Because man whore doesn't really roll off the tongue. Man whore in my head sounds like someone...
will find a way to get a roll.
No. Man whore in my head sounds like someone...
A prostitute.
Yeah, a male prostitute. Which
is probably where the word whore and whatnot defines from as well, is a woman or a male prostitute, depending on which one you want to go with.
Yeah. I do like the word gigolo, though. That's really funny.
That's what like fans of ICP are. Or is that something?
Oh, no, Juggalo.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah,
I know popular media.
The fans of this band, they all sell their body for sex.
So I need to, as a religious person, disagree with point 24, which says school sex ed, religious values, and other pervasive sources of sexual norms don't treat your gender as more dirty, impure, or undesirable for you losing your virginity. Yes, it does. We are taught to only have sex in marriage. We're not taught that women are like gross because we had sex outside of marriage. Everyone is gross for having sex outside of marriage, including you two. Moving on.
That comes from a religious person. Doesn't define the thoughts of real.
Hang on, we got to challenge that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, come back. Fucking lefty scum. I guess in certain aspects it can be seen as impure for losing virginity as a woman. I think that might be popularized by media in the past, to be honest. The whole thing of the virgin being sacrificed and all that kind of shit. I think that's where there's more come from, is media related than anything.
Yeah, I would say it's more.
But it implies religious values.
Yeah, I'd say it's more media based. From the way they describe it in that sentence, they're saying it from a religious point of view, which I would have to agree with Jack, is not the whole vision of what the religion is about, because they view both individuals, because it takes two to tango at the end of the day.
That is just Christianity that we're on about, though. But in certain cultures, I think Indian cultures, as in Native American Indians, what I call it, well, I don't care, Indians.
Brown Americans, got it.
Yeah, brown Americans. Placed on fire. I think it parts of some of their cultures, they saw it as basically a reason to call off a wedding if a woman is found out to be non-virgin. I'm not sure where they held the same standard for the man in that respect.
There is certain cultures out there which do essentially shame a woman if she...
Arab countries,
like a lot of times where they'll actually be killed.
I think they might have a somewhat sort of right idea, but just aimed at the wrong people.
I'm sure, I don't know if they do it anymore, but I think that they would actually kill, say, like rape victims and things like that.
Yeah.
If they've been...
I believe that was a common...
outside of wedlock or something like that.
Practice at one point.
Yeah. I don't think they do it anymore, hopefully. But it's comes from that, I suppose you could say. Are we going for all these? Or just the good ones?
No, we're like scanning. If there's a quiet moment like this, it doesn't matter because I can edit it out.
Okay.
Where we're trying to find a new one.
I think we should have read through these and highlighted them as we went along.
Yeah.
That would have done work. So I'm going to actually look at this on my phone because it's much easier to see than this way it's moving.
I found one that I sort of agree with. Number 39.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can drink in a bar alone, unbothered, in many... English. In many other public spaces, including bookstores, coffee shops, festivals and more, a woman alone is often assumed to be available for men to talk to and harass. I mean, I wouldn't agree with the harass bit, but...
That is assumed via men.
Right, okay, so right. So these points are supposed to be pros for men, am I right in saying?
No, they're pros for... They're telling us how we're privileged, how we get so...
So, being alone and being ignored in a social situation when you are alone and having no one approach you is considered a good thing?
Yes, it is.
How is that? Well, because you go outside to socialise.
Disagreeing with that, because we can be in a bar alone and public spaces and so on and so forth and be assumed to be available, because it does happen to us. People do sometimes come up and talk to men if they want to. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's probably more common to see it the other way around, but I think that's again blown up by media and whatnot.
And that's coming out anyway, because we're chasers. We're chasers anyway, so...
Yeah, so I guess it is down to nature in an aspect. But at the same time, that isn't just down to men, that is down to women as well. So both of them kind of take it. I think women have it a little bit more, but men still have it.
Yeah, it would be more of a common thing for a woman to be approached by a man if they're alone to see if they are available. But that is a completely social thing to do, and it's considered normal because that's how people interact with each other and that's how you meet people.
Although, according to like social norms, and if you want to go into gender structure and so on and so forth, it's expected of a man to like make the first move, and that's something that women find as well. They kind of expect them to make the first move. They expect them to do this and that and this.
Yeah, if they wanted gender equality, we'd be approaching each other all the time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's awfully one-sided, and this point seems to come across that any male interaction is considered a nuisance, and men should be left alone, which is lesbianic. Let's be honest. So, at the end of the day, just replace the word woman being approached by a man with woman being approached by a woman, and if they still came to the same conclusion in that sentence, then they have a point, but in this case they don't, because they're being gender specific, which means they're being biased. So that point's out the window completely.
One that we went through earlier, Jack, which I think we've skipped past on this one, is back into social norms. So the first one on the page. You can dominate conversations without being judged, women are perceived as too talkative, even when they're speaking less, with one study showing that women need to make up 60 to 80% of a group to have an equal time in conversation.
Fucking hell.
Is bullshit.
That's so much bullshit. Women don't stop talking.
It's fine.
Women don't stop talking ever. They're the most social things ever.
Yeah, but it's
Things.
like because
Creatures die.
Objects.
Possessions.
men are more like
I'm sorry.
in a general sense more introverted and more like I don't care what other people think or do or say.
You can argue that it's actually a kind of a male construct for men to be more quiet and reserved and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but you'd be wrong to.
Yeah, you'd be wrong to, but you could also argue that's something that society has forced upon men and should be broken down and so on. So we should be allowed to do that. Well, not that degree, but it's not on there. It's on there.
I like point 40. You can travel alone without worrying about being the target for violence because of your gender. Well, tell that to any man that's been attacked in the street randomly by a group of
tell that
thugs.
to any man who has any semblance of crime rates and whatever. Like no, that's stupid. Like,
aren't we more likely to be violently attacked over a woman essentially in the streets of a random act?
I think I'm not sure
because it's sexually acts that the woman get more than anything if they're
Men are more likely to be attacked violently. Period.
Mm.
That's just it. And whether they be alone or in groups. So you're not more safer being a man. You may have. Well, certain men may have a more physical ability to defend themselves, but for the most part, if you're outnumbered, you're still going to get your fucking head kicked.
Yeah, and the most part it is that you're outnumbered. So
exactly, yeah. These type of thugs and people will attack in groups, and it's criminals. Criminals don't fucking care about who they're going after. If you're alone and you look easy enough to target, they're going to go after you. You could argue perhaps that a woman is an easier target than a man, but I think that's a disagreeable argument because at the end of the day, the studies don't reflect that. So it's just the actual figures of who gets attacked lean more towards men being attacked. So
okay, right.
It's an incorrect statement.
This one annoys me. Right, number 51. Common ideas about preventing rape don't hold you accountable for not perpetuating sexual violence. Instead, they put the responsibility on women to avoid being victims. No, they don't. No man in the history of ever, except for the rare few, obviously, are like, oh yeah, no, I support rape, and it's on them not to dress up funny. What self-respecting man with a functioning mental health state has ever said that?
none.
Exactly.
No public speaker has ever come up and said, "Oh, it's the woman that should be dressing in burqas."
Yeah.
Unless you're from the fucking
Left.
Middle East and left.
Yeah, that is a daft statement in all honesty.
They have a triple whammy earlier of and it's not that we're not tackling it, we're not tackling it because it's boring. 45, 46, 47, I'm not reading out because it's boring. We're not tackling them because that's we know, and I don't know. I feel like covering those three, one, it's heavy, and two, it doesn't even. What is there to say about it? It's just that these are actually. I don't think that's an actual fact. I think that's bollocks.
Mm.
But these two are potentially facts because I've seen these two before a lot. 46 and 7.
Do you want to read them out? Because there's several points which the audience can't hear.
Physically injured by a partner.
No, my point is I didn't want to talk about it because we're one, they're too heavy, I think, and two.
Well, nothing's too heavy for this show.
You're less likely to be injured by a partner.
Yeah. So you're less likely to be injured by a partner.
Yeah.
Research estimates that 40 to 70% of all women who are murder victims were killed by a husband or boyfriend.
I know that 46 isn't true because most. Sorry, not I know it isn't true, but you can make a damn good stabbing at whether it's about it being false because the amount of men that come forward with that situation.
Yeah, it happens more to men than women.
But the men that come forward, even though it potentially happens to them more, is rather small compared to women. Women come forward a lot more than men because to men it's emasculating and I'm being beaten up by a woman. I'm not telling a man that.
Yeah.
Because it's I'm male and I gotta be so big. No.
And again, that's down to social construct and whatnot, which men are allowed to share because women are
So like 45. I'm willing to believe 45. You're less likely to be homeless as a result of intimate partner violence. I'm willing to believe that because I think a lot of women and children do flee violent partners.
But that's such a specific point. Like, it's like saying you're less likely to be homeless as a result of a intimate partner violence. So that's essentially saying that you've been forced out of your home because your partner is violent. So essentially like a battery or things like that.
Here's one then.
Which I would agree is a true point, because in like say a violent situation between a man and a woman, the men don't tend to really leave the home in that kind of respect, I'd imagine, because probably they own the house. So I can agree with that point, but it's a specific one to bring up, and it goes without saying in most cases, really, because of course the lady and the child are going to flee from a violent house in that kind of case. I wouldn't agree that it's kind of they're forced to be homeless, because there's things in place which can help in that kind of regard there.
One thing with that though is one or two things with that. Women are seen as more mothering. Naturally, they're seen as more mothering, so of course they're going to try to get the child out there as fast as possible, essentially to protect them. Another thing that I don't believe they'll mention in this is the fact that more men are kicked out of their homes for domestic disputes, as in arguments and so on and so forth, and forced to leave their houses. Even if it's woman's fault. Yeah, even if it's a woman's fault. Or, just something simple as not being allowed to sleep in your bed.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous. Also, when it comes to divorces as well, typically the man is just stripped of everything and left as a rotten carcass.
Well, that won't be in this, because this is anti-men.
I know.
Weirdly enough.
The marriage system is
Divorce
very,
system.
very... Yeah, divorce system is very, very biased to the female side on that kind of case on that there, and it leaves a lot to be desired as far as marriage goes. Like, I don't get marriage anymore. I don't understand why people even get married anymore, because for the most part it's not down to religious context. Like, the whole point of marriage is to bind a family together, and another part to it is to essentially do it before the eyes of God, so that it's considered kind of sanctious. It's like, these two bind together forever in the eyes of God kind of thing, and that there. But a lot of people don't do marriage because of religious reasons. They just do it because of reasons. A lot of times it's more of a statement. It's like, let's spend all this fucking money and this, that and the other. And it's like,
it can also
it's illogical is what it is, and it seems to be more of a fashion statement these days to get married. It's in the media. It
seems normal, I guess.
Yeah, it's not so much about love, and it's not so much about let's just get this done. It's about like literally just let's have a big fucking party and just fucking...
That, but it's also kind of seen as, I guess we have to do since we've been together this long and get married, ha ha ha. Because a lot of people do get married for just the sake of being married. It is quite pointless.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's no kind of benefit to it at the end of the day. Like, if you're together with someone and you live with them for a while, surely you'd live in the same house and whatever. Perhaps you have a joint bank account.
I think you can
get
one or
share
two
a
more
lot of
benefits
things
for being married, financially wise. I'm not sure what they are. But I feel that there's something that they get.
Marriage tax? I don't know.
Can't remember. Anyway, something as well is that you're not expected to sidestep if someone of another gender is walking in your path.
Oh, fuck off!
Say that again. That was so ridiculous. My brain didn't even take it in.
You're not expected to step aside if someone of another gender is walking in your path. That's common courtesy.
Yeah.
That's not expectation of a gender. That is just common friggin' courtesy. I move out of the way of women all the time.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you just weave in between people and that there. It's like people do it for you, you do it for people. It's just kind of just the normal traffic flow of walking. There's no kind of bias to that, and there's no point to that whatsoever in there.
When me and Jack were looking at earlier, social norms allow you to take up more physical space.
Is that in relation to the whole man-spreading thing?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so because there's more going on between our legs as far as like size region goes, we're not allowed to air it out sound.
It's not even airing out. I mean, it's uncomfortable for us to sit with the legs closed, is it not?
Yeah, for
Don't get me wrong.
circulation reasons.
Some men do take the piss when it comes to what you call manspreading and so on, and will just be like.
Most people, you can be like, oh, hey, can you move over a bit? And then they'll be like, yeah, sure.
But one the point the video was making, the video of me and Jack were watching it did make a good point about when it was manspreading. Basically, it showed women doing manspreading, and then it showed something against women, which is they have a bag, typically, which they put on the seat next to them, which takes up a full seat, not just a bit of a seat.
Yeah, I know. It's such... The problem is that I feel like a lot of people, they're trying to push this kind of gender battle, and it's so not... What's the word I'm looking for? It's so deconstructive. It's not helping anyone. It isn't helping anyone. By bringing these things up, by what you could say, I suppose, addressing them, you're not helping anyone, because there's not an issue to be had here. And to imply that there is, and imply that there's something that needs to be changed here, firstly, look at the kind of figures of what it is what you're trying to kind of describe on here. Then, is there a problem to be solved? And I don't think there is really. A lot of this is really just kind of just nitpicking and just general kind of annoyances, which an individual has decided to make a kind of list of, if you will. It's like a man will take up more fucking space on the subway with his legs, so I'm going to write about it in my fucking internet blog, and then I'll name it something, and it becomes a thing, and the internet will just kind of run with it and diagnose it as as a kind of like just
a mannerism.
Yeah, as a mannerism, and it's just like,
Not
well,
what I said,
did you say that,
I
mannerism?
said manism.
Manism.
Yeah, like
I like mine better. So
yours is already in this. Oh.
mine's actually a word.
Oh.
So you get what I mean by that point, because it's just essentially it's
something
it's
I just
not
noticed about this thing. It says 160 plus.
So someone got a lot of time to waste.
Yeah, essentially.
I'm on 58, so.
Well, I'm going back through because I think we've missed something which is kind of important. Well, maybe not important, but just funny.
I'm looking on mine because, like, you've got your own phone and screw you.
A lot of this is so assumptuous. You aren't expected to eat less, with ideals like ladylike, including dainty portions.
What?
A lot of women I know eat more than me, I would argue to say on that there. And I don't have much of a big appetite myself, in all honesty. I eat little and often kind of thing. But I don't get that at all on there. That's such a fucking Hollywood-esque kind of complaint. It's like, I'd expect to see that in, like, say, a chick flick movie, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's not how people really be. And if it is, then fucking just be different, motherfucker.
I want to point this out before John goes on to his tirade over there. So, point 60, 61, 62, and 62, so all deal, and 59, all deal with doctors dealing with how they deal with women and how medical research deals with women in one way or another. And that we are taking more seriously than them. And they've basically shot themselves in their own foot. Because most doctors, at least in our country, are women. So that's their own women not taking them as seriously. And yet, we're sexist.
Oh, another thing as well is, as we mentioned earlier, women are also more prominent in the fashion industry, right? So number 12, you can buy clothes designed for you, for your gender, that have pockets you can actually use. Clothes meant for women are often focused on being slimming, so purely decorative pockets are common.
Well,
I do think that women should have pockets.
They should.
Why do they not? That's so irritating.
women do have pockets.
But they're decorative. They're often not big enough to put your phone in, for example.
To be fair,
I always see women carrying their phones in their back pocket.
But what women do you know that are actually women?
Fucking, I work over in a call centre with like over 50% fucking women, and they all...
Sexist.
So,
it's called equality now, Jack, I'll have you know.
You've been noticing these
Supremacy.
women's back pockets often?
Yeah, because I like looking at arses, because I'm a fucking perv. But they carry them in their back pocket, and there's plenty of fucking room back there, trust me. Anyway.
Well, no, I think the decorative
Who
pockets
wrote
is
this,
stupid.
by the way?
Oh,
Who
God
wrote this?
knows.
Is this American?
Some feminist bollock.
Probably.
head right.
Is
Well,
it, I feel like this is American based.
This has
Probably
got
American.
31,000 shares. Why? I know. But
Cancer does spread.
what I was going to say is men also get fake pockets quite often as well, especially in
Suits and
yeah,
jackets.
suits, jackets. Probably some skinny jeans as well. I
Gay
would
men
imagine.
have a problem with not that I know, obviously, have a problem with fake pockets. I've got a pair of jeans that I'm not getting into this. It's too gay for me.
You can buy a car without salespeople assuming you can be taken advantage of. Chances are you'll be offered a better price than a woman.
Alright. What's that based on? Literally. Who's giving that statement and where, how do you even get that fact?
I'm pretty sure they've just created a bunch of people. Well, yeah, this is my source.
There's a source to that, yeah, isn't there?
Probably not.
Can we check into that? Is there a source that tries to prove that point? Because it sounds so ludicrous. Because firstly, to even establish that as a fact, they'd need to get a statement off the individual selling the car saying, yeah, I give a better rate to a man.
Okay, so the thing says, a Yale study has repeatedly found that car dealers quoted lower prices to white males than to female, quote the white males.
Ah, not the black ones.
Than to female test buyers, not the white females, or the black females. Female test buyers. The study found that on average women were offered list prices £200 higher than price quotes to men in similar situations for the same cars.
I can tell you exactly why that is, right? Car dealers are shady, and men are very confrontational and combative by nature. And so we'll go into a salesman combatively and go, I want car for X. You get me down as close to X as possible, and I might give you my business. Whereas a woman is far more easily swayed because they have an agreeable personality type.
I guess you could also say that...
It's unfair that they're taken advantage of by those car salesmen.
But that's salespeople in general.
Yeah.
Hi. But no, yeah, I see it in the place that I work as well. It's kind of like a small scale sales. You get some people who sell honestly, hello, and some people who will just lie.
Yeah, but how long until you're fired for selling honesty?
Probably not long. I'm pretty sure that the guy that came up to us earlier wanted to have a bit of a go at me because apparently we were open Saturday, but I didn't show up. But yeah, that's fine. It was snowing. There was no trains. They should have called me. Fuck them. At a point. Where's my point?
About selling ethically.
Yeah, but that's salespeople in general, because these people get commission as well, especially car dealerships. They get quite a bit of commission on a car. So of course you'll want to sell it higher to whoever you can. So they'll take advantage of anyone. If a man doesn't know much about a car, he's going to be like, ho, 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 ho. I think society-wise, the men are expected to know a little bit more about cars because they generally... That's one of the common interests, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair thing to say. I wouldn't necessarily say that is a kind of a bias in any respect, though, because a lot of times, I mean, you know, if you just literally just, you know, kind of look and do a little bit of research, you can combat that. Because you'll know if they're giving you a bad price because you just fucking know.
Yeah, it is down to the person. Whenever they come to buy anything, if I was to go to somewhere to buy, let's say, a camera like we did before, if you remember, Di, we didn't buy on the spot. Well, I didn't buy on the spot. You were like, buy it now, be fine.
Yeah. I'm a man of action.
And I went,
of idiot.
I went, no,
action.
shush.
Dive in.
We're gonna go home and read up on this because I'm not gonna spend like a grand on a camera. If I don't know shit about it, I'm going to do a little bit of research before I put money down on something at that price.
Like an intelligent not idiot.
And that's what someone should do when it comes to cars as well, is put in the research and the time if they're going to spend a couple of $100,000 probably.
Like anything that costs more than like £100 for me, I'm like, right, I need to go serious. Like,
that's a strange figure that they put in there as well. They say 200 odd difference, £200, yeah. £200
according to this here, it says about £200 difference on average.
Cars cost a couple thousand now.
Yeah.
So how do they get that figure?
I'll hold it out of their arse.
It's like, and also
Yale said it, so
another thing as well. Car dealerships, they got the price of the car, like written out.
Yeah, but
so,
I mean, you work in sort of sales as well, don't you? You work in retention, so it's kind of similar.
Yeah, so
you can sell things for a little bit cheaper if it gets you something a little bit better. If it seals the deal.
That's down to That's just down to haggling. If anything, that statement just says that women are worse at haggling than men.
Which is they are.
Yeah, which is kind of what I said at the beginning.
Not all women.
Well,
No, not all women, but not all men either. So.
I'm not good at haggling, and I'm like, why am I? A man, that's why.
Oh god, you fucking synth was showing then, bro. This nigga needs to be fucking. What's the word? You need Maxon in here, boy. Burn this abomination. Where were you going with that?
Isn't Max in the synth?
No,
it was Dance
Maxon.
on it. Yeah, I killed that synth fake. Sorry.
I'll let him go because he was just fun.
So I want to tackle this because I write a lot. Shut up. So the media.
How often, Jack?
69.
How's
Shut
that
up.
book going? Did you work the book? My little novel? Beginning, middle, end? I like that.
Why me?
Because he covered his up.
Get away, you fucking bird.
So anyway, the media, right?
That's
You get to have your gender represented in the media as strong without writers going out of their way to have a strong female character. I can.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Boom.
I can answer this more simply. Most writers, most writers are men, and I don't know if women are aware, but we can't really identify with being a female. So shut up. So we can't really write women as well as we can write men unless we are, kind of effeminate like me. So what you do is you go into writing, and I don't mean this sort of shit fucking writing where you spout ridiculous facts that aren't facts and tell men that they're evil and they should be shot. You actually write good stories with the female characters you want, and then we won't buy it because you don't read anything except for specific types of books, so it's pointless.
I'm sorry, what did J.K. Rowling write as a main character? Was it a guy? Or
But then the best character...
as after them in general. Even the women are writing about men characters.
Yeah, but then the best character in her books is Hermione, probably. Like, she's the most well-developed. No, you've only seen the movies. You don't fucking... Your opinion doesn't matter. In the books...
Yeah, so what?
The movies are different drastically, especially when it comes to Hermione and Ron.
It's a classic thing of writing as well. Is
still an adaptation.
You're told when you start learning to write is to write about what you know.
Debatable.
So if you are a man, then you are going to write about your main character is going to be a man because it most reflects you.
Yeah.
I've come across female writers before, and their main character is a female. For the exact same reason, because you've...
Who cares? It makes no difference.
And it doesn't. It makes no difference whatsoever. It's just the writer's a female, finds it easier to write about a female character, and that's it. I mean, most of my characters turn out to be male. I don't know about you.
And old men as well, I've noticed.
Huh?
Old men as well, I've noticed.
Oh, only one. I am old, secretly.
I mean, that relates to more about write what you know, but it's... I mean... It doesn't matter so much between, like... What with the main characters, a man, woman, black, white, alien, robot. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's the story. Because you're meant to relate to the character. And it doesn't always have to be on a physical level. Like, I don't look like or fucking feel like any of the majority of main characters in any movie or most other things that I watch. Literally. I don't directly fucking, kind of identify with those individuals, even if they're men. But I still have a good time watching the movies, and I still have a good time enjoying their journey, and I learn something from that. Like, it's a very strange point to make that, I mean, okay, you could argue, and it's fair to say that women are underrepresented as main characters in a lot of media than men. Same with minorities, I suppose you could say.
I wouldn't say that so much. I mean, it is coming even more and more popular.
It is more and more popular historically, though, let's say, because for the most part...
Men consume more media than women. If women started consuming media a lot, then they would have...
You do have things like the daytime television, let's call it, which stay-at-home mothers end up watching, which usually do have strong female
those
characters.
sad shows, with,
Yeah.
like Loose Swimming and all that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's depressing.
Super mundane.
But you have things which are aimed at the stay-at-home mum and so on and so forth, who they write their main characters primarily about women and so on and so forth. You got Sex and the City, one of the biggest shows ever. I don't know if God knows why, but
But we're not meant to get it. It's not for us, is it?
But like I said earlier, look at most of what Josh Whedon produces as well. Quite often is a female protagonist. Which is quite
I have no idea who that is.
He's the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay.
He's also done things like Dollhouse and everything like that as well, which tend to have a female lead character. So you do have men right. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of the most well written character casted for of its time.
It was very good. Very good.
Oh, one on here as well. You can enjoy traditional masculine hobbies like sports without people saying you're just doing it to impress men.
What?
Yeah.
Fucking what? Because fucking men do sport to impress other men as well. Like, that's just a fucking thing. It's a fucking pastime, for fuck's sake.
They're doing to impress women sometimes as well, and vice versa. You get it for both. You get women trying to impress some people, or to prove a point, or anything like that, or more likely, people who just enjoy it.
Exactly. I don't really get it, because it's like these points would make sense if they weren't so biased. There's such a kind of like veil of over like 75% of the opposite side of their argument that devalues the point that they're making altogether. It's like, read that point again. It's so bad.
You can enjoy traditional masculine hobbies like sports without people saying you're just doing it to impress men.
I've never heard that used on a woman ever in media or real life.
Yeah.
No, I don't know where they got it from.
I just
There's no link weirdly enough to this one either.
I've got
That was literally just like they wanted to make numbers.
Yeah,
I've got a few female friends that play. I mean, Lucy plays volleyball and Chloe, whatever. You know, they all do sports, and I've never heard them once talk about that. It's like, oh, you're just doing this to impress. No, they're glad to have another person to play with.
Yeah, sports isn't a masculine thing anyway. To be honest, sports is a, as you said, a pastime. It's a hobby. It's a source of entertainment.
Exactly, and it's for everyone. That's the thing.
Sports is not really masculine. I think it probably started out in some aspects that way from football and whatnot, but you still had feminine ones at the same time.
Yeah, like fucking
tennis, for example.
Because of how men are made
tennis.
up, like testosterone and all that, we have more energy and more drive to like run about, and so I think that's why sports are typically more male-dominated thing, because we have more fueling us to run around in a circle chasing a bull.
I guess you could put that back to caveman time when we would go out hunting wild game and whatnot, while women were more harvesting and so on, and gatherers.
So I got a point.
Can't tell if that's
here.
going to be sexist or not.
I got a point here that's hilarious to me, because I've got one response to it. In online gaming, you can play characters of your gender that aren't hypersexualized. Lucio. Have you seen Lucio in Overwatch?
Yeah.
He's the most sexualized black man I've ever seen.
Is he?
Doomfister's got a nipple hanging out. So is what's his face, the robot man. Genji. He's got a nipple hanging out too. Batman's arse wiggles when you walk with him in the Arkham games. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Yeah,
I haven't actually.
That's so shit. Like pretty much all fucking main male characters are super beefy, sexy hunks.
You know,
like
Nathan
no
Drake
homo.
I mean, Crash Bandicoot is the hottest male. Main character
oh my
I've ever
god, I
seen.
would stroke him so hard.
I'm gonna go home.
Fluffy.
And his girlfriend as well in the first game.
No,
Dante
she's-
from
she's
Devil May
a fairy.
Cry as well as this guy with ripped muscles and all this kind of crap in with no top on, just a coat.
Yeah, it's that's such a silly point. Like fucking, I mean, they're probably gonna date that back to like Tomb Raider.
I'd
But
like
then-
to point one thing out on here as
Can I make a
well.
point? Fucking Tomb Raider. No, I need to make this. This is really important. They're gonna talk about Tomb Raider, right? Because that's what they all were like. Oh, Tomb Raider's got huge tits and ass, and it's all fucking
Huge
pixelated.
triangles.
I know, and they freaked out about it. But then, what the fuck about Duke Nukem? That nigga's muscly as fuck, fucking a pure stud. around the same time.
Like 2
And-
years earlier.
Yeah, and fucking dual wielding motherfucker.
I mean,
and didn't. No one said anything about that.
Garrett in Thief is like the typical sort of rogue, lovable rogue-looking build, handsome rogue build. You know, he look until his eye gets ripped out, but I don't worry about it. You know, Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series, which are terrible games, don't play them. But he is like, you have so many people that look like Nathan Drake in modern gaming, it's ridiculous. Once you pair like Mafia and all that, it's ridiculous.
If I may pop in a thing here as well.
Absolutely not.
Oh. What were you doing? No. A lot of villains in games are often men. So how do they...
Men too.
Huh?
Hot men too.
You're so gay.
That's true, though. I mean, you got...
Yeah, he said it. He said he's gay. He said they were hot men.
Well, we got a comment.
I don't agree with John.
Hot men villains.
You don't make correct points, Jack. You know this by now. So, no, you're right, because no one really talks about that. Is like, historically, all of the kind of major bad guys and villains have just been fucking white men.
I mean, in history as well it is, but just scrap that aside for a second.
In RL as well as in fiction, yeah.
Actually, there's probably I don't know. Actually, there's probably a decent amount of Asians as well that have been bad guys.
Yeah, Genghis Khan's a pretty bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, the black people as well, because their own government sold them into slavery. But hey ho.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get reparations on that side too. It's so funny. Victimize your people, boys. You didn't learn the first time.
But yeah, a lot of villains in a lot of media, including books as well. For example, they go on about a male protagonist in film, media, blah blah blah. But it's also quite often got a male villain. So how do they go about that?
Exactly.
They don't want to be. I bet on here there won't be anything about a female villain or anything like that, because they don't want to play that role.
I can't think of a female villain off the top of my head.
I think of probably a few.
Yeah, there's some pretty good ones out there. I do actually really like female villains.
I know there are, but I can't remember one off the top of my head.
Let's just say, like Poison Ivy, the kind of classics from the kind of DC point.
Mm-hmm.
There's other kind of more like Disney related
yeah.
ones. In Disney, there's a lot of bad female villains.
In the Mermaid one.
Yeah,
and there's also what's it called?
The witch with the horns, Maleficent. That's from something else, I think.
The one. Snow White, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
White,
the one. Yeah. Wizard of Oz.
I love the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz wasn't a bad female. Oh, it kind of was, but it's also kind of a...
The witch and the old guy were both bad, I suppose.
Well, he was a con man, not really evil as such.
Not evil, but also... Yeah.
Not really ambiguous.
Yeah.
She was evil, though.
What's her name in Thor as well? The new Thor that came out recently.
Helen.
Hela,
that's
something like that.
She's great. She's
Cruella de Vil.
Yes, classic. Hela was fucking so good looking in that movie. She was really good looking in that movie. Just agree with me on that. She was like, destroy me, woman. It was great.
That has issues.
I don't have issues.
You have
when she had that
tissues.
thing and it was like Gas Queen Slay. It was great. It was good. I liked that movie as well. Do you like that movie?
Kind of, yes and no.
I know it was ripping a lot from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is unfortunate. I would have preferred they had their own kind of style about it, but they still did it well.
I don't feel it would have. It didn't stand up on its own.
It didn't have enough of its own identity. It just felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy rip.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, no, I think men and women are relatively decently represented as bad.
There's another way about impressing men. You can express your political opinions without folks saying you're doing it just to impress men. Never once heard that. I've got so many friends I talk politics about. At least 4 of them are female.
Something that goes on the back of that as well, one of the ones from earlier. You can make changes to your appearance like a haircut or dye without assumptions that you're doing it for a man.
That makes no sense.
Again, I've never...
Yeah, I know.
I've never seen it. I think
what people are these people hanging around with? Jesus Christ.
People,
you need better friends.
Yeah, you're all for people.
Who the fuck assumes that? White
cis men assume
that. The only person that would assume that is another female who's jealous, in my kind of eyes on that one. Because...
Or a man who thinks you're coming onto it.
Yeah, a man, at the end of the day, if you've done your hair and it looks nice, it's polite for you to compliment on it. even if it looks bad in most respects, because sometimes it's just nice.
If it looks nice, it can't look bad.
No, even if it looks bad.
Oh, okay.
There's one we discussed
Christ.
earlier, which we kind of
You say it's nice anyway sometimes if you're a nice person, just to make them feel better. And whether it's a man or a woman, you do that, and it doesn't mean anything.
Jack, you're not going to like this one.
Hmm.
Products like Viagra exist with the aim of helping cisgender men maintain their sex lives as they get older and social norms. Congratulate you on doing so. There are less support for women to continue being sexual as they age.
We don't need it. Like our material can run out of keep up juice, which is why we need Viagra. They don't run out. They
and
can
as I
go
said,
further.
the fluids is called because Jack will cry otherwise.
No, it's called the menopause, isn't it?
Mm.
When things begin to dry.
Yeah, but that's what lube was invented for.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't.
There's nothing.
It doesn't dry out their ability to have sex.
Yeah, I know. You just use lube.
It dries it out with natural whatever, but it doesn't get rid of it. Whereas we would not be able to have sex unless we had that pill.
Some of us.
Yeah, I don't
I don't think it happens in all old men, but you know.
No, but I don't, whatever. I don't care. Move on, please.
But
For the
yeah,
love of God.
they have their own as well as we have our own, so it's not just a one-sided fucking thing.
Yeah, and in all due respect, women have way more sex toys than men.
Sorry.
Women have way more sex toys than men.
You got
Way
that
more.
point. Yeah.
And it's more accepted in society for a woman
Yeah.
to have a sex toy than a man to have a sex toy.
If two people came up to you, a man and a woman, and one said, I got a dildo, the woman said, I just got a dildo.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's normal. If a guy said, I've got a fleshlight, or you're thinking some weird,
you
you know,
think
My
he's-
Little Pony watching fucking...
That's the thing, exactly. There's a bit of a taboo there which they don't talk about, which is more unfair to men in that respect on that then. Maybe we'll get over that, but at this point
It's clothing as well. Women have overly sexualized clothing, whereas men do not.
Yeah, I know. There should be more like sexy clothes for men.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing.
Man mini skirts where you can see the nutsack. You should get ball sack bras and pad them. It's $1 billion idea, boys. We could do it. We could make the money.
Well, you're going to grab 2 billion balls off a pool table and just shove them down there, are you?
Not like an actual bra, but for your bollocks. Brolocks.
God.
Patented Skinner burgers.
Oh.
You can participate in kink, BDSM, and other alternative sex
Can we
practices
please
without
not
being
talk about sex?
without being judged as a slut or facing assumptions that you're not in control of your own sexual choices.
What?
I know. Where does that come from?
What is the even?
What? How does?
Have they not read 50 Shades of Grey?
Apparently not. Oh, that's weird. Or facing
I
assumptions
haven't,
that you're
but that's about
not in control of your own sexual choices. How does that even say you're not in control of your own sexual choices? It's your choice to participate in it.
Yeah. And more power to you. Getting tied up is fun. It's really exhilarating. Anyway, so, what's the next point?
You get tied up, you die.
It's been...
I tie myself to my bed. And
How's the cuck life go for you?
It's just the wrists, it's fine.
Anyway, Jack, what are you on about?
It took 107 parts, which is, I think, a record in an article like this, but we finally got to the pay gap myth.
Oh, fucking hell.
no.
Only took 10 hours.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a myth. I mean, what else do you need to say?
That's all it's deserved is it's a myth.
It's so... Oh, it's such a ridiculous fucking thing.
Should we tell the fable of Hercules instead?
There's so,
Is that more factual?
Jesus Christ. I'm not even it's not even worth getting into. It's such a stupid fucking perpetuated... It's not real. You're an idiot if you think it is. You get paid less because you work less. That's how women work. Women work less than men because they want more holidays and they usually have kids. It's an unfair fact of life that because of your biology and you have to give birth, that you will earn less. Fucking either make the man take after the kid once you give birth, or accept the fact that you're going to earn less. If we made it so that all men had to take care of kids, the same wage gap myth would exist, but it'd be the other way around. It doesn't matter. It's not real. Not in the sense that you purport it to be anyway.
That is, how are they getting that number then? So
so basically, right, men, you will earn the same, removing commission, you will earn the same amount of money as Sally next to you, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't care what her name is, it's Sally now. You will earn the same amount of money as her. Now, in a year, Sally will go on maternity leave and go on, I don't know what maternity leave pay is anymore.
It's half. Oh, it depends on the workplace. Some are half. Sometimes only for a few months, sometimes none.
Alright, well let's pretend
some of them are full, aren't they? Sure.
Some good places.
Doesn't matter. Let's pretend it's half, just for the sake of this argument, right? So, in this, she'll have half paycheck for like 3 months, right? Where brings a child, looks after a child for a couple of months, and then whatever, comes back into work. So already, her gap to you is that much because she's just gone half pay for 3 months. And then because the child needs more and more of her attention, she'll work less and less because she wants to take care of the child and the father can't do it or whatever. And it just that's how it happens. Like if a woman goes into a job and dedicates her life to that job like men often do, because that's how men are, we're very one track minded and we'll just go into one thing. That's how we work.
Until we die.
Then yeah, which is depressing, but that's how we work. Then yeah, we'll earn loads more than you because women typically don't do that. Women like to have their days off. They like to have their salon days. They like to have their children or whatever. They like to look after children, stay home and whatever. Like this isn't a slight on women. All the more power to you, but don't expect to be paid over your life 100 grand when you're only working for 78 grand's worth, because that's what's happening. It's not in a specific job you are paid 78 cents less or whatever the statistic is now, because you change it every minute anyway. It's that over your entire life, if you stay in the same job, you're paid less because you go away from work more often. It's so simple, and yet somehow they fail to grasp it. This is why I think they're legitimately retarded. Because I am very bad at maths. I can't describe to you, audience, how bad I am at maths without actually doing maths myself.
Could you sum it up in words?
I don't know, this is
that was good.
Again. Let's quit the podcast. I can't tell you how bad I am at maths, and yet I, as a layman to maths in and of itself, never mind economics, can easily see why you earn less on average than men. It's because you give birth. It's an unfair fact of life. Either don't give birth and live happy and free with all the money in the world, or give birth and hate your life. Pick one. It's easy. You're an idiot if you pick the former, though.
Were you practicing?
The latter, sorry. The latter, I meant.
That point former. As well. So I understand that if you work less, you get less money. Mm-hmm. But I've heard previous points in the whole pay gap thing that they actually get paid less per hour, which makes no sense.
No, they don't.
That's not allowed to be done.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think what it comes to is when, let's say, for example, you've worked a shit ton of hours, you've done a lot of work for the company, etc., and you get a pay rise. The woman that's in the same job with you, who hasn't put in the same amount of time, and so on and so forth, doesn't get a pay rise because she hasn't put in the work for it. So that's where then you get the difference in pay. Depending on what kind of work it is, because some people can get a raise in their job, depending.
The other thing as well is you are far more likely than your female co-worker counterpart to go to your manager, your boss, whoever, and say, I would like a raise because I think I've done X, Y, and Z really well consistently for the past X amount of months. A woman, because they're more, what's the word I'm looking for? Men are confrontational, women are more, that word, the opposite
submissive?
Of... No.
Introvert?
No. Whatever, right? The opposite...
Unconfrontational?
Unconfrontational. I don't know what the word is there. There's a word I'm looking for there. Because they are that, they won't go to their boss as often as men do and go, hey, I think I've done this really well for a consistent amount of time, I want a raise. They just don't do that. It's not something that they do as often as men. And another thing that plays into it, because again, this isn't even in the same job that it's talking about. It's on about as a whole. So men go after more dangerous, more high-paying, high-risk, high-reward jobs because that's how we are. I'm not, because I'm feminine as fuck. But
I think all three of us, that's fine.
But most men are male, and so they'll go after more high-risk, high-reward jobs like underwater sea mining, which is quite dangerous, but you get paid 100,000 a year or something like that.
Terraria.
Or you go into politics.
Or MLG Gaming.
Or I got to elbow him in a minute.
MLG Gaming is, for the most part, a very male-oriented thing.
I wouldn't call it a high-risk, high-reward job, though.
Have you seen Cal's, what does thing in your hand? Carpal tunnel? Hurts like fuck.
Yeah, but there's a...
Just
like,
ignore him.
Don't ignore him. That was a valid point, motherfucker.
Alright, ignore her. So the whole like,
Shim, actually.
So men will...
First skim.
Men will take the more dangerous job. Women will be a nurse and men will be a surgeon. That's the example I was given.
I think what you're going for there is men can be a bit more ambitious in terms of what they're going for, but women as well will also rather go for a nursery job as opposed to working in the military.
And when you go to a country as well that has more gender equality as we do, and I can't remember what the country is, but when you go to a country as that one, the women will more often choose jobs that are lower paying, like cleaning, nursing, whatever, compared to men who will pick, manufacturing the cleaning equipment or surgeon or whatever. Like, as the liberation of women increases, they will pick more jobs that are womenish. Like, this is what they do. Like,
it's weird what women are trying to do. They're trying to force women into these other jobs, which, I mean, they got access to, no matter how you look at it, but they just don't want to go into them.
Yeah, you're making your own side unhappy by making them think they have to go into these things in order to kick out men. The world functions fine. Fuck off.
It is a very mundane point to make as well, because it would suggest that the solution to that point is to pay women more for less work, which is inequality then.
Yeah.
What point did you
verging on the side of fucking supremacy?
Me or him?
You made the point of earlier, if the gender pay gap was true, then why aren't these companies hiring more and more women, because they're going to pay them less?
Exactly.
If I started a company, I'd just hire nothing but women.
Exactly.
I'd even fire myself.
Think of the profits. Just have a surrogate boss as a woman, and then you just tell her like things off the paybook, but don't actually take any money on the books like fucking Al Capone. And it's like, there ain't no money.
Nah,
you
man,
can't sue
he
me.
got done for that. I'm not that stupid.
No, but initially he didn't. He got away with it for quite a while. They couldn't trace it back because it was the money was all in other people's names. So he was like, everything was bought for him. Anyway, it was
what do you two?
story.
Because this is related to work, you can go next. What do you two think of this? Because I've never actually been in work for an extended period of time. You're less likely to be addressed with a demeaning language at work and more likely to be addressed with respect, unlike women who are referred to as girls or called nicknames reflecting stereotypes of women as intellectually inferior, like honey and sweetheart. Now, as someone who calls everyone honey and sweetheart and dear and things like that, I take deep offence to that, because everyone should be called dear and honey and sweetheart, and fuck you. Carry on.
So,
Carry
John,
on,
do you want
dears.
to go first?
Well, honey and sweetheart is not inferior or anything like that. It is just
It's a pet name.
It is a pet name. It's weird that you call people pet names even though you don't. But I've been called, honey and sweetheart before.
You called me sweetheart before. I mean,
hey, sweetheart. but no. I think men get called pet names as well. Probably not as often as women, but I'd say a fair amount. Girls, I don't think is really much of a demeaning kind of thing. I mean, you people say, "Oh, you boys," or
My boy.
no, or a popular saying is, "Oh, I'm going to go out with the boys tonight." Is that somehow inferior? If making them inferior or anything like that?
Yeah,
because you call them boys.
yeah, if girls is inferior, then boys has to be, surely.
Yeah, but
exactly.
it's not.
This is the thing which they always.
Actually, boys must be a hell of offensive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is so one-sided. It hurts because it's so incomplete of an argument. It's like somebody talking to themselves in the mirror. Whoever wrote this literally talked to themselves in the mirror and agreed with everything, but didn't look at it at a single different point. Like, for instance, I don't understand how calling someone a girl, if they're indeed a girl, is offensive in any way. Like, that does not make a lick of sense, because the kettle is black. Call the kettle black, the kettle's not going to get offended because it is black. It doesn't. Call it how it is, and
I think
it
the
makes
only
no sense
kind of
as to why it wouldn't.
the only kind of down talk I've ever heard a customer give anyone in terms of the job is because of their age, and they didn't want them to sell it. I think it was like a wash machine or a white good item or something like that, because they were like 18 and looked younger than that. So that I can kind of sort of understand from a weird point of view, but at the same time it's completely wrong.
There is a bit of an ageist, I suppose you could say, part to things, and it comes from mostly to do with technology, I would say. The example I will give is like you wouldn't say perhaps sell a 70-year-old or an 80-year-old the iPhone 10, let's say, because they like to stick to the whole buttons thing of like say a Doro handset, which is essentially a flip phone with buttons and inputs, and not very high-tech handset with a million things to do with it, because a lot of older people generally they don't want all that, it's too complicated for them, kind of thing. And it's not disrespectful to assume that of a person. You should always give them the choice, of course, but for the most part they'll literally say it's too complicated, I don't want to fucking know about it, it's beyond me, I just want something simple.
I guess if you were to go in and let's say you were looking at to buy a couple of a grand worth of TV, right, would you prefer someone who is 17 to 18, something like that, to serve you, or would you prefer someone who is looking around about their 30s to 40s to serve you?
I would
For
take
what
it.
now? I didn't hear the first bit.
For a TV for about a grand with a TV.
Oh, okay.
So do you mean like go into a store and who would you rather take advice off?
Yeah.
So, me personally, I'll take advice off anyone as long as they sound like they're making sense. I'm very much...
Not hard to fool you though.
No, it's not so much that. It's just I believe everyone has something important to say, and it's worth listening to them, because then you can make your own judgments.
I do
of
agree
whether
with
it's
that.
valued or not.
But which one of the two would you prefer to talk to? If you had the choice between one and two.
Whoever comes to me first.
So what if you don't like what the younger person has been saying?
I would get a second opinion if I didn't like what they said.
I suppose you would.
But I would say the same.
Well, yeah.
There's like, I understand the point you're coming from. Other people would make that decision. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Other people would go for the person who looks more experienced and older. I think what it may come down to as well is the age of the actual person asking, because an older person would probably ask someone more older in line with their age, or indeed closer to their age, because they feel more comfortable with that person from that generation. Whereas, say, they're asking a teenager, they may feel intimidated in respect when it comes to technology, because they might feel like, I'm about to talk to a fucking alien now. It's going to explain to me the fucking ins and outs of a cat's ass when I just want a new TV. You know, other people will make that decision, and there's always going to be that kind of bias with people, because it's just down to personal preference, really. There's nothing bad about that inherently, I don't think. It's just who you rather affiliate with and talk to.
So one on here they're saying you're less likely to be stalked.
My father got stalked.
Good for him.
That's all I got. I don't remember why or how.
I would
But who's a man, so.
be inclined to agree with that, especially with the rise of social media, because I don't know if you could class it as stalking, but let's say...
Oh, yeah, you got what's it called? Social, not social media stalking. There's another term for it. Which
admirers.
Yeah, but I mean, I've spoken to women who constantly spy on what their partner's doing on Facebook and all this kind of stuff as well, which continues as stalking. Depends on what the definition of stalking is via them.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Like, my definition of stalking, I suppose, would be someone who doesn't interact with the person they fantasize about, but constantly monitors them. Like, someone in the background is just constantly like the FBI, right? It's just constantly just like they're following your life, but they're not proactively involved in it, or at least they want to be, but they don't have the muster to do so. I would say that's more common for women than men, with the kind of more raised in, say, technology on that there, especially social media, because you say have like a lot of Instagram Instagram, say, famous people, right, who tend to be like female models and things, and they'll have loads of followers and that there, and you could argue that a lot of their followers are indeed stalkers, because they will subscribe to their Patreon, pay them money like follow every single thing that they do and live their life around this person. There's people out there that will do that, and I would definitely say that it's more common for a woman to be stalked in that kind of manner. But I would say it's more to do with technology in that respect. If you're not putting yourself out there so much on technology and projecting yourself as that kind of image and having so many followers, then you are less likely to be stalked. So it's a self-induced thing. It can be easily combated.
I still say it's kind of an equal term kind of thing, because if you were for a celebrity as you used, for example, you probably still find that they have equal amount of people on their Twitter and so on and so forth who are following them. As I mentioned earlier as well, women are more emotional. So they're going to keep an eye and a check on what people are saying. A man might have someone on like social media, for example, to every now and again go, "Ooh, look at her in that picture," and that's about it. Well, a woman is more likely to go into the comments and just be like, "Who is this bitch?" which is why I definitely find as more stalking rather than just like, "Ooh, look at this picture." Both are still stalking, but one of them I think is a little bit.
Investigative,
I guess you could call it that.
Yeah, it's more about the information side of it. I get what you mean from that. I'd say fair majority, but the majority would be from the men's side, I would say. Not to say it doesn't happen on both sides, but I would say it's the point that they made in that is marginally true, I would fair to say.
Oh, I'm on religion, so I'm not.
Oh dear God.
Oh, here we go.
So I mean, you can stop me if you want, and we can save that for last, because I've got a whole bunch there that I wanna have fun with.
God, it's gonna be us being like, I don't know. Okay. Go on to a point which we can.
John is the one with the points. I've gone past all the ones that interest me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it today now? This.
Yeah, religion is like the final. I mean, there's a whole like article then about male privilege.
When you cut this up, can you put it into like?
No, that's too much work.
No, when you cut it up.
No, whatever you're about to say, it's too much work.
In like 3 or 4 episodes.
No, it's too much work.
No one's gonna sit through this for an hour.
Yeah, they will.
And we don't care.
It's not too much work. You can listen to it through it, cut out the parts which are shit, and then all you gotta do, the 3 parts.
Alright, cut out any part where he's talking. Got it.
And then put it into 3 sections, and then make 3 episodes on it, because no one's gonna sit there for a fucking.
I cut out this part as well.
Yeah,
No, that's what podcasts
but no one's
are,
gonna
though, to be
fucking.
fair.
Yeah, but I feel like we're getting better with the more section things, like part 1, part 2, part 3.
I don't know,
Sure.
man. My democracy playthrough got 10 views.
Wow. No, I mean, it's up to you, but that's my suggestion on it, because we've been going on for fucking ages now. And normally we have like a cut off of like half an hour usually.
Don't forget there is 10 minutes beforehand of us just faffing because.
What are we on now? Like,
Here's one.
yeah, and over an hour is fucking crazy. Take it down by a bit.
You can enjoy partying without people blaming your lifestyle if you're sexually assaulted. What? I know, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Got him.
Sorry, I saw the mic dead.
You need to cut that down in editing.
Hey Jack, look, you picked the mic.
Hey, I finally spiked it.
So, that implies then that's rape, then, isn't it? Yeah.
That was rape, because that was.
I hit your stomach.
So-
You tried touching me up earlier.
Yeah, because you wound me up.
So? It doesn't give you the right?
Yeah, you got payback, it's fair. Fair is fair,
You
boys.
got payback by poking me in the side earlier.
I know, fair is fair.
You stretched, it's not my fault.
So,
Yeah, because
That's-
my back hurts.
back
your
to the point
fault?
in a second. So that's implying rape.
Well, sexually assaulted, it can be anything. It can be rape, it can be...
Groping.
Yeah.
So
Sexual assault is a bit more broader term, I guess you could call it.
Like
Being-
Rick and Morty with that child.
well, a man can be sexually assaulted, sure.
Mm.
But I mean, at the same route, if a man was drunk, fucked out of his mind, or high on drugs or something, and then he was raped, you could equally say, well, you were fucked. You were fucked.
Well,
mate.
no, it's not blaming the lifestyle is the point. It's the fact that they would blame... Oh, no, sorry. It's not the lifestyle that's the fault. It's the part that they're blaming the lifestyle when they should be blaming the people. Because these people would have sexually assaulted someone, whether that other person was drunk or not. It's not about the lifestyles of the person.
But it makes it easier for you to get raped if you're drunk.
I see where you're coming from, but at the same
More
time,
vulnerable.
I'm not saying I'm not condoning it or anything. But if you are drunk off your skunk, then you're more likely to be robbed, raped, because you don't have your wits about you.
I guess you can call it almost a two-way street then, because you're responsible for your well-being, and
I mean, obviously, if someone's determined to rape you, you can't really stop them outside of shooting them or something. But
with the Jack hates guns.
But you know,
Grab them by the balls and twist. That's what my nan used to say.
But if you are
Castration.
drunk
Yeah.
and all those things, like you have to take responsibility for the fact that you're not going to have all your faculties about you, and so you won't be as able to defend yourself as you otherwise would be.
Yeah, that's a super fair point. I mean, the issue.
Not blaming her for being raped or anything, but if you weren't drunk, then you might have been able to avoid it easier.
And that's something that would be said for a man as well as a woman. That's not one-sided.
Yeah.
That is true. That's very true. It's more common for a woman to be raped, sure. We can say that's a fact. I mean, it is fair.
No.
It's more common for a woman to be raped than a man.
No, it's not.
I thought it was, but
It's not when you take into consideration the amount of rape that goes on in prisons via men. As soon as you take that into consideration, it skyrockets.
Yeah, if that's a thing, but like
in everyday life we're talking about though.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't get drunk in prison. Unless it's a bad prison.
Yeah. Well, maybe to cope with the rape, but like it's no longer cause and effect, and it's affecting cause. You know, if you can't do the time,
David, everyone.
don't do the anal sex. Anyway, so there it is, 2K18 still going strong. No, that's a very, very fair point. You know, you have to have your wits about you, and you have to take a certain amount of responsibility. Of course, it's not right when an individual is attacked or targeted in that kind of manner, and it's no excuse to help condone the actual action of the attack by the intoxication or the vulnerability of that individual. You can't control that at that point. You know, sometimes even on a night out, because things like being spiked, for instance, right?
Which is actually my next point on here.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like things being spiked outside your control. You could be a little bit drunk, and just only a little bit drunk, but just so much that your perception's down a little bit, and then you get spiked, and all of a sudden.
Can I say my next point, because I think I'll add to the conversation you're about to have.
Yeah.
Number 50 is you can set a drink down at a party without having to worry about being drugged and assaulted.
Right.
I don't think we
that's
can.
wonderful, because that's not true at all.
Yeah.
Because like a man, firstly, when I go out drinking, I have bottles, and I always put my thumb over the top.
Yeah, I do the exact same.
You put your thumb down your top. If
I
I
drank, I would too.
if I leave my drink down, for whatever reason, even if I had a friend watch it, because sometimes I'll be pissed, and I'll go, I need piss, and I'll leave my drink. I'll come back, I won't drink it anymore. I actually have a rule, and this applies to my drinks in everyday situations, actually. This is more of a kind of a paranoia, I suppose you could say, on my part, but it applies very well when I'm out. Is that once a drink's been out of my sight, I will very much likely not drink it. I don't know if you noticed that about me, but I'll always take my drinks with me. Like, just inherently, even when I'm in work.
I think I've seen you do it here.
Like, I'll have a can, and I might take it with me. I'll sometimes leave it here. If it's a really safe space, which I can trust people.
Or on college campus.
Not on college campus. There's no safe spaces on college campus, John.
It should be a safe space in the work, should it die?
Yeah, it should. But like, yeah, my point would be that if it's outside of my thing, that's just a personal thing that I do. But I feel like it definitely is a good thing that a lot of other people should do, because it's just
it's stupid to not expect to be spiked, essentially.
Exactly, expect the unexpected. That's the thing, and you've got to just be prepared and just take little things like that, just to be just smart out there. Really, it's just that kind of like, inevitably, you know, you can't do everything to stop those kind of bad things from happening, but you can take measures to make it less likely. And once an attack has happened, even if he was intoxicated or not, it's not your fault. It's not something that you could have been in control of.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, just try to be safe out there and try to take that responsibility. Whether you're a man or a woman, the points that they were trying to make that you're less likely from being spiked or drunk or drinked or whatever the fuck from that shit is bullshit, because that happens all the time.
So next one, your choices about your sex life are less likely to be misused to rationalize violence against your gender, like when violent men justify hurting women because they can't get laid. So you're telling me that it's gay people, especially in the time where being gay was like, you know,
Evil.
the biggest thing ever, that won't be used to rationalize violence against them. Even if it still happens now, gay men are beaten the shit out of because, you know, discrimination, and sadly it does happen. It happens with both sexes. It's not just to women because a guy can't get laid.
I mean, you hear about the Islamese and the Russians killing and beating up gays anyway. Like, that's such a stupid, like, point. It might happen to them more, I don't know, I doubt it though. I hear more about gay men being thrown off roofs and killed in places like, in Islamese places than I do of women for whatever sexuality they may or may not have.
Is Islamese the right term?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't have to carry...
It's just Islam, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I find Islamese a lot funnier, therefore.
It is funnier.
Wait.
It will catch on eventually.
So, you don't have to carry a lifetime of both constant risks to your safety and constant doubts that you're telling the truth about it.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a riddle?
It must be.
Is that fucking...
That is not a sense-making sentence.
You don't have to carry a lifetime of both constant risks to your safety and constant doubts that you're telling the truth. You read that just in case I'm being shit.
You don't have to carry a lifetime of both constant risks to your safety and constant doubts that you're telling... Yeah, that's bollocks. That's not a sentence.
That should have started with Sun Tzu said, and then just that, because it sounds so fucking profound. Like the fucking...
There's a website that's like falsehinduprofoundstatements.com or something like that. That's one of them.
I can kind of get what they said the first bit. It's like
you're
constantly loomed over by this bad thing.
Yeah, the first half it's wrong, but it makes sense. But the latter half just nothing. Have you got to religion yet? So
fucking me.
I'm on health and body now.
Oh god.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Hey Di, how are you?
I'm fucking fantastic.
Good conversation.
Yep. Those guys from Hammerfeld have curved swords. Have you been to the Lake District recently? Oh, of course you haven't. What am I saying?
Oh,
I don't know, what are you saying there?
I'm just scouring quotes.
Okay, so... Your gender is considered to get finer with age, while women are considered less desirable.
Finer with age.
Well...
Have you seen old men? They look disgusting.
Everyone gets rank when they're older.
It's so natural.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I think some men manage to retain their looks, but some could be said for some women as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the whole thing of MILFs come from, but yeah.
Yeah, and if you're brave enough, GILFs.
Okay.
Grandma I'd like to fuck.
Yeah, we know, but we're just
Have you heard
judging
of
you.
TRELFs?
No.
Tramps I'd like to fuck.
Okay.
I just made those up on the spot. Patented Skinnerberg. Patented Skinnerberg.
He'd be saying DILFs next. Dead he like to fuck, but hey. Or HILFs. Horse he like to fuck.
I like that one. That's PILFs, ponies.
Yeah, they can't be of age, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That must be weird, John. That must be weird.
What about some chilfs? I think you know what that means.
Chinese.
No, children.
Oh, God, that's John.
That's Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Ugh. Another way to swift on.
Well, DILFs could also mean dogs as well.
Yeah, Jack's a DILF. No.
Filthy,
Jack
filthy.
loves DILFs. That's what it is.
He loves some filthy DILFs. Some filthy hairy DILFs.
Got to religion yet?
No.
Oh,
You keep distracting me.
What about bilfs? Bears he'd like to fuck.
oh, I'd be into it. No, I'm not. No.
Sorry. Di, make sure you take us so we can do the edit so I can stay in.
What are we doing?
Don't worry.
Oh, just stay. Keep all those guilt things in there. Funny.
Are they?
Yeah.
You're under less pressure to be thin and face fewer social and economic consequences of being fat than women do.
Should I purposely skip this one because we talked about it when we were on about body hair?
I suppose. So stupid.
How economic as well.
Bigger dresses cost more. So here's a simple solution to that, all fatties out there, right? Get thin. It costs you no money to. It saves you so much money to eat less food and go walking more, and then you don't have to spend so much money on fabric. You have to spend so much money on body odorant. You don't have to spend so much money on shampoo and all that bollocks to stop your hair from looking like greasy turd mess, right? Stop being fat slobs. Get off your arse, move more, eat less, save yourself some money, and then you'll be happy and men will like the look of you. Right? I know it's unfair that we find certain women attractive, and usually it's thing women, right? If you want men to find you attractive when you're fat, go after the blacks. If you're not after them, then you're stuffed, unfortunately, because most white men find thin women attractive. Deal with it.
If you're a cisgender, you don't have issues like period pain and...
Of course we don't.
What's that?
Oh, fuck off.
No idea.
Okay, and something associated with your gender and treatment as pain, as bad as a heart attack, ignored as a result.
Yeah, because... Oh, my God. Simple biology, woman. Like, you have periods. We know, like, fuck it. What?
We're so sorry,
kind of
we'll take
logic
those
is
back.
that?
That's our privilege to not have that, not our biological anything, but shh.
Like, if you have periods, you're not taken seriously when you say you're in a lot of pain because that's normal for you. Like, we feel sorry for you that you have to put up with that every month. That's, and again, another one of life's unfairness. Maybe you shouldn't have eaten the apple on the tree. You wouldn't have the problem then, would you? Can we please get to religion, because there's some damn juicy ones in the religion
Yeah, we
section.
probably need to jump to that anyway because I've got to go soon.
Oh,
So
excellent. Boom.
I've got media to
Boom.
go through, but don't worry about
Boom, 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 boom.
I like the way they blame simple biology on men. Out
Yeah.
fucking standing Marines.
So, not the top, but my top one, right, is if you're religious, you're less likely to be assumed incapable of choosing your religion for yourself, like when people assume that Muslim women need saving, right? So their implication here is that we think that Muslim
those damn Muslims out there.
we
bombing
think that Muslimese women are what do you call it?
Victims
of, and they are. There's no way they're not, right? If you're walking around in a country, and most Arab countries are extraordinarily hot in what amounts to basically a bathrobe with a hood, then yeah, you need saving from that, love. You'll die of heat stroke before you even get to what's their version of heaven?
Fucking
Before you get to your version of heaven, right? You need saving
Mecca?
from that. Mecca.
Is that it?
It is
I'm not
now.
sure if it's Mecca. I think that's their
Oh, that's the place they pray to.
That's like a
Yeah.
box, isn't it?
Right, okay, whatever, right? When you get to Dreidel, that's when... that's when you'll... That's the only time in which you'll be cool in your entire life. That's what you need to say. Like, oh, I don't understand where the left gets this idea that the Islamese are perfectly fine and have no problems in their religion whatsoever. I mean, for fuck's sake, you criticised my religion for so long for things it did 300 years ago, and then when this religion is doing the same thing that mine was doing 300 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, no, they're cool though, they're fine, they're on our side. No, they're not. They actively do not like women. We have put steps in place to make it so women bishops exist. Women bishops exist, women priests exist, women pastors, whatever. They all exist. And yet, you go on about Islam being this feminist ally when they actively make their women dress a certain way. They can't drive without their man. They can't vote without their man.
They can't go outside without their man.
They can't even do that without their man.
They can drive in certain countries now.
Well, yeah, now, what, 40 years after the...
I also, from what I've seen, the burqa, the type of dress they wear, like a lot of the kind of robes and that in particular, is used to dissipate heat.
It might, but like...
And the robes they wear in those countries typically are, designed to be against that, because not all, but quite often the majority of the population do wear similar style robes. The only real difference is probably the hood that they wear.
But the point is, these women, right? If they want to wear that, carry on. But the point that we make is that they should be allowed to wear what women in this country wear at summer. Nice loose shirts and skirts and whatever, and sandals, because it's more freeing and it's cooler for them.
You had to mention the sandals.
It's part of the attire in the summer.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, you dirty boy.
So if you're religious, you're less likely to have your beliefs attributed to irrationality and scientific ineptitude. Yet you want to bet, try being a Christian, love. If you're religious, you're less likely to have your holy texts like the Bible interpreted in ways that justify mistreating people of your gender, like silencing women, and less likely to have passages that affirm your gender ignored. Right, I can answer that simply. The Bible was written by humans, and humans, especially at that time, didn't see women as equals, and they haven't seen women as equals until fairly recently, and I'm very sorry about that. But the Bible was written by man. Paul was a well-known sexist murderer. That doesn't discredit everything he said. It just discredits a specific thing. It's an irrelevant point. You were silenced by the religion, but that's because the people in power wanted to keep their power. You can blame men for that, and you can just blame human corruption, because you're perfectly capable of it too. If you're religious, you can find a place of worship that doesn't treat your gender as inferior. We don't treat your gender as inferior. You're an idiot. We don't treat anyone as inferior. There are many saints that are women. You're an idiot. If you're not religious and looking for community, male leadership also dominates the public atheist domain, and leaders often perpetuate sexism in atheist circles too. It's got nothing to do with religion. You're not excluded from atheism based on the fact that rationality is not a characteristic of your gender. Yes, it is. I can't tell you the number of female rational tropes I see in modern media. It's the only thing you're ever portrayed as is the rational thinking one, while the dad is perpetuated as the idiot. You can be the Simpsons, Family Guy, all of it. You can be part of an atheist community without risking gender-based harassment. Oh, that's weird, because I don't remember any gender-based harassment being mentioned about my religion. Sacred and religious figures and deities like the Christian God are usually portrayed as your gender. Of course they are, because he had a son called Jesus. You're an idiot. You can practice a religion that centers around your gender without facing harassment and backlash. You don't either. For instance, women-centered sects of paganism and Wicca sometimes have to deal with misogyny. Well, I'll think you'll find it's because Wicca and paganism are false religions. Done. Mic drop, boys.
I caught I don't know, about 4 sentences of that.
Don't worry, I'll slow it down and edit it.
There's be a big bassy drone with the voice of God just echoing.
Reverb added by 10.
Oh God.
That's a mic drop for you, boys. What should we talk about now?
You should just put your face on there while you talk about that and just draw on a beard.
Why in the world would they bring religion? Why in the world would they bring atheism into that religion box?
Yeah, atheism isn't religion.
It's fucking mad. It's supposed to be it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's why I said
it's the polar opposite.
In that tirade, I think I mentioned that. It's not even... Atheism is the exact opposite of religion. They're idiots. They're actually idiots. They are actually incompetent fools who don't have a working brain. It's a wonder that we don't take them seriously. They're idiots. Their movement is... This is a movement that started in not in the 1900s, but somewhere in the 1800s, and was legitimised in the 1900s, early 1900s, got them the vote, and did all these great things for women, equal pay and all that stuff, and then somehow, some way, we got to 2015, which is when I first heard about all this bollocks going on, and it imploded and became a joke. And now no woman actually wants to identify as feminist. You ask most women if they identify as feminist, and they will say no, or they will say yes on the
But they'll bring up the principle of the other side. They say yes, but not a crazy one.
Yeah, they'll say yes, but second wave or first, or one of the ones before the one that we're in now. Like you're mental. Stop being a feminist. It's bad for you. Be egalitarian and preferably Christian.
I don't know why it's not called humanist, but
It's the same thing.
Isn't it interesting? One of the most evil men on Earth managed to get women the vote, so technically men are still good guys. Yeah, man.
Who was that?
Your leader.
Who?
No, that was Second World War.
Huh?
First World War is when they got the vote.
Oh shit, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Were you implying Hitler?
No.
Okay.
Which one was the first? Who's the guy
My
in charge of
leader.
this one,
But excuse me?
Oh, don't even ask. I don't understand the First World War at all. It's a bollocks World War is what that was.
Skip the first, just go to the prequels.
Yeah, like the First World War makes no... It was
First of all,
such a-
sequel.
pretty long.
like some guy from Austria-Hungary assassinated some guy from Poland, and then everything blew up.
Okay.
Like that's all I got. That's all I remember from learning that.
More to it.
Yeah, there was, but that's all I remember off the top of my head. I cared much more about the Second World War.
That was the spark that ignited it. Like
And the
there
Great
was tension, but because it was a lot of old empires, I suppose you could say, just getting bigger, and with the kind of like industrial movement and that, they just wanted to expand. That's like everyone wanted to expand, and there was a lot of kind of tension on the borders, and it was just they only needed one spark they only needed a reason to fight. That's all it was, and they just wanted to increase their empires. That's what it was.
So has this been a podcast?
I think so. Yeah. If anyone's ever made it this far, I will personally give you £100. No
Watch
joke.
Ben hold you to that now.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. And
No, it'll be uploaded. He'll
Yeah,
watch.
you know-
There's no way he won't watch an episode where me, you, and John are talking about feminism.
he's not gonna listen to the whole thing.
Oh, he will.
All right. I'm waiting for him to say, "Where's my £100, boy?" He's gonna say it
Good
in that,
impression.
in that kind of like
It was as if he was in the room.
belly. I got the fucking hand slap shake down though. It was like that's what Ben does. Yeah, pretty good.
He's nice.
That was a good first podcasting about what 2 years.
Don't date it.
God.
Anyway.
It's actually been. We discussed this the other
I think
day.
it's like a year
3
or 2
years.
years, something like that.
Yeah.
€1,000.
Anyway,
Are we done?
yes.
Okay. Can I eat my crisps now?
No.
Yeah, that was true talk. Fuck you.
That's just good being the last thing. I think they said crisps.
Yeah.
That's a cake.
Did you just
Quite obviously a
mansplain?
cake.
Did you mansplain my food?
I will kill you.